Sorry about all this moving about. Let's see if that works. All right. Okay, so I think we'll just get started. And then I'll work out the lighting and everything during that's better. I'll work out the lighting during the meditation.
We did get a text from someone in the Sangha who said he'd be or she'd be happy to send you the email with the if you want to do that.
Okay. So it's just my name, tuere.sala@gmail.com.
I tried to send it to you twice and it wouldn't send at tuere.sala@gmail.com.
Tuere.sala at gmail.com. It's
yes.
If you send it to Tuere, it's Tuere.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's why I sent it to.
I think this is it. Okay, I think I got it. Okay, I'll be right there shortly. That's much better. Now I can put some proper light on. That's much better. Okay, good. Okay, well, probably need a sit after all of that, huh? That's good. Well, do you want me to start?
If you want, I could just try to find the introduction, but I think it would probably be better if you introduced yourself to whomever probably not familiar with you.
All right, that sounds like a plan. So I have been here once before. It's great to be with you. I am the guiding teacher, one of them, at Seattle Insight. So I'm familiar with community Dharma. I'm familiar with community sits. I love it. And so that's part of who I am. And I also do a lot of retreat teaching at both Spirit Rock and IMS. So I graduated from the IMS training program. And I've been with you once before. So I have I feel like we have some connection, some sense of familiarity with each other. So why don't I looked at the sheet and you usually have a 40-minute sit. So why don't we start with a sit? We can kind of re-establish ourselves. It'll only be about a half hour. And then I'll have a Dharma talk and we'll take some questions. How about that? Sound good? Okay. So I usually like to start a sit with a some kind of poem or a quote, just so I know if I'm going to do any kind of thinking. I just turn the mind towards thinking on this. So here's what this is what I'd like to share. Let me get it. It's by yeah, here it is. It's by Rumi. This is the quote I'd like to share. If you could get rid of yourself just once, the secret of secrets would open to you. The face of the unknown, hidden beyond the universe, would appear on the mirror of your perception. So if you could get rid of yourself just once, the secret of secrets would open to you. and the face of the unknown hidden beyond the universe would appear on the mirror of your perception. So what that means to me is that when you're sitting, I'll do a little bit of guided instruction here, as we're sitting here, gathering ourselves. In the beginning, we can kind of focus our energies. We can listen to sound. We can let the sound just happen. We maybe can touch into sensations in the body and let the sensations happen. We could feel ourselves just sitting here or lying down in whatever posture you're in. All of this is readily available when we first sit down to meditate. First sit down to meditate, we're open to the possibility of stillness and, I don't know, spaciousness, just being in this present moment. We're open to the possibility of just connecting to the breath and just letting the breath be there. We're kind of open to the possibility of meditation itself. Whatever that looks like, whatever object we hold on to anchor ourselves, whatever foundation we use to come into the present moment. We're open to it at the beginning of a meditation. But as the silence begins to settle, there's less stimulation, there's less sort of instructions. Gradually, the mind gets disinterested in this trying to be present, trying to be still, and it starts talking about itself, its wants, its not wants, its problems it has to figure out. When that talking starts rising up, and you're losing the connection with the present moment, and instead you're traveling into the past or into the future, see if you can notice that. See if you can notice that as, oh, that's selfing. Can I come back to just an anchor, just this present moment? Maybe you'll be able to see what it is that leads the mind to leave the present moment. Unpleasantness, some kind of boredom. It could be anything. But maybe you'll be able to see why it is the mind leaves this peaceful moment. We'll sit here in silence and then I will ring the bell. It's time to end. If you could get rid of yourself just once, the secret of secrets would open to you. The face of the unknown, hidden beyond the universe, would appear on the mirror of your perception. Feels so much better now, all settled. I thought I would talk about the mystical aspect of the Brahma Viharas. You know, the world is in such a chaotic place. It just seems like it's very angry, very afraid, anxious. There's just a lot of trepidation, meanness. It feels very troubling, I guess it'd probably be the best way I can say it. Like like we're troubled. And it feels a lot like what I would have considered the Dark Ages. It's like we're going into that energy. And, you know, we could get caught in that energy fairly easily and even lost in it. But I think we have access to a level of practice and wisdom that is almost like a mystical shield from that overwhelm that seems to be out there so much. And learning to access that shield is what I want to talk about tonight. I figure, I picked this quote because I think my whole life I've been a mystic. I grew up in a very conservative black church kind of family. And there just wasn't a lot of gray area for mysticism when I was growing up. But I think I was a secret mystic on the inside and just didn't really talk about it so much with my family or the people I went to church with. I always wanted to know what the secret teachings were. You know, Philip Moffitt is my mentor, and I always ask him about the secret teachings. What's the stuff that's behind the stuff that you talk about? What's that? That's what I wanted to know about. I've always been interested in it. I've always believed that there was something secret, that you had to be quiet, you had to be still, you had to pay attention, and you could begin to see um, something else. That there's one type of um, there's one type of knowing which is on the intellectual level. We could kind of know stuff, and then I always believed that there was some other kind of knowing that was more intuitive, that was quieter, and you had to do more to try to access it. And so when I came into the Dhamma, you know, that's what I was thinking was the wisdom practices, that a meditation, and I would focus on the breath or focus on the Satipatthana and the various establishments of mindfulness, that was going to help me access this mysticism that I'd been searching for my whole life. But I don't think it's in the wisdom practices. I think it's in the heart practices, in the metta practices, that we can access something greater than ourselves. And that greater than ourselves energy is what pretty much carries us through difficult times. So, as if I start with metta, this quality of metta, oftentimes we practice with it as if it's just this kind of kindness that we just bestow upon people. You know, we have a level of general kindness towards people, mostly people. And it's like we want people's lives to be happy. We want people to be kinder, gentler. The world, we want your world, your life to be gentler, happier, kinder. And I do think there's something to that. That wanting, that's the way that we practice the Brahma Viharas as a metta, as a practice um, to just send kindness out into the world. But that's not the mystical side, I think, of metta. And metta has a completely different side to it that we can begin to access. And that side is the power that kindness actually brings to us. There is something about being kind in the midst of non-kind that completely changes the relationship we have with the moment. So an example would be, I live in an apartment, and there's a lot of ants that come into my apartment. I think they must know I have an affinity for them. I think that's what it is, because I'm going to show you how ants are my neutral beings. They have been for a long, long time. And I used to find myself getting triggered for all kinds of reasons. I mean, I was a prosecutor for 30 years, almost 25 years, and it's really easy when you're a trial lawyer to get triggered by all kinds of things. I mean, it's the full gamut about how just how people think of lawyers, period, and let alone how people think of prosecutors. That's even worse. And the level of trauma and stress that the people you're dealing with are going through, um, it's no wonder that I would get triggered all the time. And I had this sense of trying to be kind in the midst of this world that was very triggering. So I would try to be kind, with this kind of be as kind as I could. But to be honest, I never really connected the kindness until after I had already done something that wasn't too kind. And then I would remember, oh, that's right, I want to be kind. There used to be this running joke, you know, when I would sit down to negotiate with defense attorneys, they would ask me if the kind prosecutor was available to talk to. Could I talk to that person? That's who I'd like to negotiate with. Because it was just a kind of a running joke around our office and some of the defense attorneys that knew I was a practitioner. This always saying, I'm going to try to be a kinder, nicer government. Kinder, nicer government. That's what my phrase used to be. But in truth, I could not seem to access being kind first. that seemed to be the problem. It seemed to be that I would think about the kindness after I had already done something that was outside of the way I wanted to see myself. And in relation to metta, that kind of feels like I'm not really living up to metta. And then I begin to look at metta in a different way. Like, what if metta was not really designed for us to be kind to others? What if metta was designed to help us find the energy of kindness, period? Like just using metta to find kindness in any given moment. And so when I first started trying this out, the way I could try it out was to imagine a line of ants that would be coming in. You know how ants, they like to move in lines. Everybody's steady. Everybody's going at the same kind of direction, same pace. And I could bring an ant in front of me and give some kindness to that ant. Just may you be happy, may you be kind, may you be peaceful. And then another ant would come forward. May you be happy, may you be kind, may you be peaceful. Another ant. And I could do this. I could sit here and do this for hours. Because with ants, it was like a neutral being that I didn't have to figure out if I liked them, were they worthy. I mean, they're ants. So there's like thousands, millions of them in line. You could sit there and constantly send this metta, send this metta. And I begin to realize that if I just took the time to focus my attention on a line of ants, that I could send this metta back to back to back to back to back to back without any interruption. And I would find kindness here in me and not have to generate kindness to send it out to someone else. Do you see what I'm talking about? There is a vast difference between metta being the practice that helps you begin to generate or feel kindness than this having to generate kindness to send out metta. I just couldn't seem to generate the kindness from nothing, but I could send it to ants and begin to feel softer and softer and softer and softer and softer. It may be that way with you with cats, or it may be that way with you with dogs, but there was something about sending metta to ants. Seemingly, I don't have any connection with them. But then I begin to think. I read a poem one time called The Patience of Ordinary Things, and the poet was noting how kind various inanimate objects were, like chairs, how they sit and wait for us, or clothes wait in the closet, and they don't, they don't cause us any trouble. They just wait for us to get them out and put them on anytime we want. So I begin to notice how much there are inanimate objects all around my house that are actually of service to me. And so I started trying to find the kindness of chairs, or the kindness of windows, or the kindness of brushes that just sit on the counter, the kindness of clothes, the kindness of shoes. All of these things, I started thinking about how kind everything else was around me. Meaning that when I started practicing with kindness with inanimate objects, the concept of kindness began to change. It's not some nicety that I have to find in myself in the middle of a harsh world. It is the nature of the world to be kind
if you learn to look for it, if you learn to seek it out, look where it's at. Meaning that the secret teaching around metta, the thing that we missed, is that it's everywhere. It's all over the place. There's no moment in time when kindness is not there. But if you're looking for kindness, trying to generate it, you may or may not have it. But if you begin to look for kindness to be in the world, you will see it. There is another way you can see this kindness. You can look for things that are soft. Right? You can look for things that are soft. And like a lot of people I work with come from trauma. And I would say, okay, I just want you to go look for soft things. And they would come back regularly and tell me, there's no soft. I've looked and looked and looked and there's no soft. And I'd say, oh, okay, well, that's okay. Just keep looking. And then this yogi gave me this example, that this experience that happened to them. And then I realized, this is what helped me realize that there's something to this mystical aspect of metta. I'm going to do the other ones in just a second, but this is what really changed my understanding about metta. So she said that she was sitting on the bus and she just started asking, where's kindness? But if you come from trauma, yeah, we don't see kindness very often. We see all the harsh constantly. So she's sitting on the bus and she's like, there's no kindness here. It's dirty. It's nasty on this bus. And I wish I had a car. And she was just grumbling. That's all she saw was all the grumbling about it. And she goes, okay, just say thank you and ask again. So she just kept saying thank you and asked again. Thank you, asked again. And finally, we had this promise that after about 10 times, if you don't see it, don't worry about it. Just give up and go, pay attention to something else. So she did her 10 times. Nothing happened. She just stopped. She said she was about to get off the bus and she looked over and she saw this pink sweater that this woman was wearing. And it was like full bloom, soft and fuzzy. And then she began to see softness everywhere. Like even the cushions that the bus were sitting on looked soft. Everything looked soft. And she couldn't understand why everything just exploded into softness. Even after she got off the bus, she could see soft and gentle everywhere. And I think it's because if you ask the mind, where is soft, or how do I find kind, or I need to be kind, the mind, our egoic mind, ordinary mind, has a rigid understanding of what is kind, who deserves kindness, and how to express that kindness. But if you just ask into it as a gentle asking, not, whatever, is it there or not, doesn't matter, just keep asking. That's what I thought. That's what I think I was doing with the ants. I was just sending out this neutral meta phrases to a neutral being, no expectation of nothing. But it triggers then the heart, and the heart can see nothing but kindness. It sees it everywhere. It knows it. The ordinary thinking mind doesn't necessarily know what kindness is unless it's one of its rigid kind of formulas as to what constitutes kindness. But the heart, it doesn't see anything else but kindness, sees it everywhere. It's all over the place. We live in a world full of kindness. But if we don't learn to access the heart's understanding of kindness, we can't find it. It's the same way with compassion. So if we turn towards all the suffering with ordinary mind there's a phrase called compassion fatigue. And if you know anything about compassion, there's no such thing as compassion fatigue. You might be fatigued from giving out compassion, but compassion is never fatigued. It's always possible because there's always suffering. And compassion is our kindness directed at suffering. When we get kind with suffering, compassion naturally arises. So our difficulty is that we're not accessing the actual suffering. We are accessing the wrongness about this suffering that we see. And in that wrongness, our ordinary minds is just tired of all this wrong, 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 wrong. But there is a way that we could begin to see suffering in a completely different way, as kind of supportive as inanimate objects are to you in your life. I mean, have you ever looked at your bed? It's just a bed, right? But I mean, try to lay down on the floor. You'll have a level of appreciation for the height of the bed that you're about to get in and the softness of it. If you think about just the walls in your apartment or your house, I mean, you can have a level of appreciation if you imagine that you didn't have those walls there. And then all of a sudden, the elements would be coming through, animals would be coming through, your neighbors are going to just walk on through and go about their business. There's something about the appreciation of the walls that give us a sense of containment. There's all these inanimate objects that are around us that give us all the support. Likewise, if the first ennobling truth is there is suffering, then every act of suffering that we actually connect with is an act of stepping on the possibility of awakening, of being in the midst of the possibility of awakening. And if we did not have suffering, we could not have awakening. We could not see the causation of suffering, and we could not see the cessation of suffering. So every single act of suffering, when we look at it from the framing of the heart, it is an act of kindness towards us to give us this capacity to awaken. I know the ordinary mind thinks of suffering as something to be fixed, some problem out there that we need to take care of, not another problem. Oh, no, I can't deal with that. Now that. But in reality, in the world of mysticism and liberation, this human birth, because we live in samsara and we can directly experience suffering, we can awaken. And so looking at suffering as an opportunity to awaken, you have a completely different relationship with it. You can have a completely different relationship, a completely different relationship, because every time suffering comes to you, you are in the presence of grace. You're in the presence of possibility, of potentiality, of the possibility of being free. Every single time some difficulty comes. But you can't use the ordinary mind to find that. The ordinary mind is going to see it as a problem. But the heart doesn't have that sense of problem. It has that sense of possibility, an opportunity to awaken. It's the same way with joy, mudita. There's a way, I don't know if Some of you may have heard the way I talk about mudita, you're borrowing somebody else's joy. So you're not relegated to just your joy. Mudita is joy in the joy or the good fortune of another. And just for the sake of time, to grasp this, if I were to start crying or tell you some story about some terrible thing that happened to me, everybody on this call, no matter the level of your listening, would feel that pain. You would feel it as if it's your pain. And that's why we're so overwhelmed in the world today, because we just seem to be feeling only the pain and suffering that other people are feeling. But we are social beings, and the same mechanism that allows us to feel the suffering of another allows us to feel the joy of another. So every being that you know that's having a joyous moment becomes your joyous moment also. If I were to tell you something and I'm laughing and I'm upbeat and I'm like, I can't believe this has happened to me, I'm so happy, you would be happy too. Because of my joy, you have access to that joy also. So what that means is the potentiality of this, the mystic possibility of this, is that all you have to do is think on the joy that someone has, and you can feel their joy. So I love romance. I love it, love it, love it. I've had a vow of celibacy since I was 34, but I love romance. I love romantic comedies. I love the whole thing about romance. Romance, love, asking for you to marry him. I just think the whole thing, when people are in love, there's just so much joy to me. So whenever I get really, really overwhelmed with sadness, I begin to think about all the people who are experiencing joy. And I usually start with all the people in front of me who just asked their partner to marry them. They're all scared. They want them to say yes. And of course, all my partners say yes every time. And then there's all this happiness and everybody's full of love and kissing and hugging. And it's great. I think that to the front of me, to the left, to the right, to the back. I just imagine it all around me. And I can begin to feel into a level of inner joy that allows me to hold suffering. I'm not holding suffering by myself. I'm holding suffering in the midst of a world full of joy. I mean, you can think about it, for all the deaths we dealt with in COVID, rarely did we talk about all the births. But I got to guarantee you, I got a feeling all the parents that had the babies being born, all you have to do is smell a baby. And all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's so wonderful. All that energy around all these millions of babies that were born, there was nothing but joy around that. There was nothing but care and kindness to do whatever it takes to help this person be safe and protected. And all of that energy, we could have experienced it as mudita. Even if we didn't even know the family that's having the baby, all we have to do is think on that situation, and all of the truth of the joy that comes from that can come to us. I mean, this is what the heart's capacity actually is. It's not a capacity of limited means like the ordinary mind is. It is a capacity that can experience life fully, both in our sorrow and in our joy. We are not limited to our own little lives situations. We have available to us the entire world. The last one in this equanimity. And equanimity to me, this trying to balance life, if we limit life to this my little moment in time, my world, what's happening with me, what's happening right now, then it doesn't really work. This sense of the mystic side of equanimity. But there's a mystical way to understand equanimity for your own life. And that is what the Tibetans call this precious human birth. It's this idea that no matter what your birth was, no matter what has happened in your birth, you are right here with the Dharma. You've come to some kind of relationship and connection to the Dharma. So you have come into the presence of the possibility of awakening, every single one of us, at whatever level we're at. And because we've come into the possibility of awakening, something about our lives, both the difficulties and challenges we've had, and the blessings and gifts we've had, somehow it has helped us move along into this path to where we are. That capacity is here not just because of the good things that have happened to you. It's actually here, you're in the Dhamma because of the bad things also, or what we consider bad. But when you put it all together, you got to ask yourself, if I didn't have any of the challenges in my life, you could maybe say, oh, yes, I would rather have a life where I didn't have those challenges. I mean, I grew up with a hot mess of a family. I could say, oh, I wish I didn't grow up with them because they weren't quite as good on the parenting. They needed some little bit more remedial training before they had kids. But if I were told you can have a much better childhood, but you would not find your way to the Dhamma, would I actually wish I had a different childhood? Not in the least. Not in the least. If it took my childhood to be as it was to help me come along to where I'm at, yeah, I'll take the whole thing. I'll take the childhood, the difficulty, whatever came with it. This is what this mystical level of equanimity is. In order for us to have liberation, we got to be willing to practice with both the beauty of this life, the greatness, the inspiration and uplift, but it also means we got to practice with the difficulties, the challenges, the 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 parts we don't like. But we need them both in order for us to balance our way through. So this is what I want. This is what I think Rumi is pointing to. That I think he's pointing to this idea that if we take the selfing, the ordinary mind's limited understanding about we don't like that and we like that, if we get rid of that for just a moment and we open to the possibility that these Brahma Viharas are available to us to help us see something beyond the limitations of ordinary mind, then I think we could begin to see something that is hidden beyond the universe. We can see that face of the unknown. We can see something that's far beyond our own limited capacity to fix the world or to make the world differently. So I'd like to encourage you to really begin to think about how can you open up the Brahma Viharas as a practice in your life that allows you to see beyond your current circumstances into something much greater. Yeah. Let's just sit for a moment. All righty then. Thank you so much for your kind attention. We'll see if there's any questions that you might have.
As usual, you can raise your hand and I will try to scan for it. And if that doesn't work, just speak up. There's a hand. Jason's got his hand up. Jason, do you want to unmute yourself?
I will unmute myself.
There you go, Jason.
Hey, Tuere, I just
Hi.
want to say thank you for your, I would say, a radical view of kindness that I need right now. And it's just so helpful. I don't really have a question, but I felt the need to just, channel what you're saying in a real concrete way that is appreciating the opportunity we all have right now. The world looks really bad. The pandemic, the war, the horrors.
Yeah.
I've had a moment recently of looking back on all the horror of the past years, just the pandemic years, and actually really seeing how this got me to the path.
Yeah.
And it's a personal journey that I have to look at and say, wow, I really do appreciate how the way things worked weren't at all what I would have expected.
No, that's right.
But
And
it brought me to a place where I can say, yeah, I know what you're saying,
That's right. And it's important that as practitioners, because we carry the lineage of Dhamma, the Buddha's teachings, it's important that we know there's joy in the world. It's important that we not fall into the trap of believing that it's only the sadness and only the misery that's in the world. It's important that we know there's more to it than that.
Can I say one more thing? That
Sure.
there's a revelation I had on a retreat I just recently did, but that sorrow and joy are the same in the vertical. So when I think of the mystic that you're talking about, there's a sort of vertical sense. We're on the linear plane, and then there's this verticalness, and in that vertical place, sadness and joy are part of a spectrum of that. If you have one, you get the other. If you can't have the sadness, like I personally, if I keep the sadness at bay and I protect myself from it, I don't get the joy.
Yes.
And if I allow the sadness, I'm all of a sudden like, wow, the other side of that is the joy. And I'm just beginning to find that balance. And it's so deeply moving.
Thank you, Jason. That's quite beautiful. You're right. That is what I'm saying, that the two go hand in hand, and that we need them both to awaken. It's because we can feel them both that we can awaken. There are realms that Buddha talked about where people, I see your question here, Stephanie, just a minute. There are realms where people, have nothing but blissful states of happiness. Those realms are just as difficult to awaken in as the realms where people are stuck in hungry ghost misery, because you need this balance of joy and sadness to somehow help us not get caught in either, not get overwhelmed by either. intellectualizing everything. So Stephanie's question, I have a hard time getting away from intellectualizing everything. Any suggestions for accessing the heart rather than the thinking mind? So this is how it helped with me. My I came from so much trauma. To be truthful, I didn't really trust people. And metta was always talked about in relation to people. And so there was a sense that I had to somehow or another come to a liking of people in order for me to access metta. That's how the ants came in. But I have found that if you send metta to trees, grass, you could sit in a grassy field and send metta to every single one of those blades of grass. And it's possible to be kind to a blade of grass because the blade of grass, you don't have any issues around it. It's a neutral being, and grass is alive. So I would send metta to trees. I would send metta to bushes, to flowers, to living beings in that way. But I also really want to get you to begin to think about how kind your house is. The way that there are so many things in your house that are for your convenience and your convenience alone. And you begin to appreciate the conveniences that you have. This is kind of a way of learning to access that kindness, that appreciation that can come from it. That's what you're really accessing. Once you start softening and opening the heart, it will allow you to access it all over the place. So the problem for people like the people that are really stuck in that intellectual mind, our judging and comparing gets in the way of our ability to access that level of kindness. And so instead of trying to convince an ordinary mind that metta is good for me, don't even worry about the ordinary mind. Just do a practice around something that is much more neutral. And the ordinary mind will think it's stupid, but you just thank the mind and do it again. Don't worry about it. Just say thank you. Thank you. Okay, I see your opinion. I still appreciate the forks for sitting here waiting in the drawer for me to pick it up, and I would rather eat my dinner with a fork rather than a knife. Rather than my hands. So I appreciate that fork. I see the kindness of waiting for me. That's what you're beginning to do. And gradually over time, your heart will begin to talk more. And that's how you start noticing kindness everywhere. You'll see it everywhere simply because you've begun to notice it. Yes, that's right. Somebody sent a little note to me that in AA they say that a joy shared is twice joy, and a sorrow shared is half sorrow. I think that is a beautiful teaching. That's exactly what I'm pointing to. A joy shared is twice. We're both happy. But when you share sorrow, it's like somebody else is helping you hold this difficulty. So it's half. It's quite beautiful. Yeah, thank you. And then Madison, I guess you can unmute it.
Yeah, hi, I really appreciated your talk. I was thinking that this was somewhat similar to developing a gratitude practice, like in a 12-step group, but it seems to be more all-encompassing. And I like the thing about the ants and the blades of the grass. So instead of thinking about, well, what do I appreciate and I'm grateful for, and then I'm reaching for the big things. What are the big things? You're saying keep it smaller or keep it closer to home.
Yes. And you're actually, I'm pointing to sending metta to the grass. So you're not grateful for the grass. You're actually just sending kindness to the grass because the grass feeds us. I mean, that's how we're able to breathe. That's how we're able to exist in this world at the level it is. So grass may be getting choked out by all of the pollution in the world, and yet we're still appreciative. It's a sending metta to them that they continue to grow, a level of kindness that they continue to grow. You're appreciating or sending kindness to the silverware for sitting there waiting for you. It might seem like the best way to help you understand this is find an object in your house that means something to you. It could be a book, it could be your altar. Just go over there and ask yourself, can you just toss this in the trash? It's just a thing. Let's just throw it away. Let's just throw it in the trash. It's no big deal. There's no life in it, right? And see how difficult, even the thought of throwing some of our Dharma books, throwing it in the trash, just seems like it's not possible because there's a life energy that's in these so-called inanimate objects that we have around us. And so we're learning to tap into that energy. That's what I think the heart provides us, is the ability to tap into a level of energy that is not necessarily seen by the ordinary mind, but it's still very much alive and around us all over the place. You can just look at your house or your apartment when you walk outside and see the level of appreciation or kindness you have just for your house, and it's just an inanimate thing, may or may not. Or you can think about the Ukrainians who lost their apartments and stuff. It's sort of like that's a little shocking. So there's a way that you're trying to grapple with or feel into the truth that I am very much connected to this world. I'm very much connected with kindness to all these things in my life. And it doesn't have to be people. I know we connected to people all the time. And formal practice, you may connect it to people. But what I'm talking about is this, opening up the heart's capacity to access kindness and metta and compassion, mudita and equanimity on its own. And that's like establishing the same way we do the 4 satipatthanas to establish mindfulness. I'm suggesting that we can do the 4 Brahma Viharas to establish an open heart that enables us to use it more freely, have access to it more freely. All righty then. Wow. At least I hope it gives you something to think on. Turn the lights off in the house and then try to walk around a bit and turn them on. See how appreciative, how much kindness it is that lights just shine when we need them to shine. They don't even pick what part they're going to shine on. They shine on the whole room. So everything gets shown. We get to see everything. It's just, it's so available to us everywhere. What I want to leave you with is, I know that this practice that I'm pointing to seems simple, seems unnecessary, but you are not practicing to fall in love with light. You're practicing with light, a simple object, in order to open up the heart. And the heart's power is far greater than the ordinary mind's power. It is immensely more powerful than all of the ordinary mind's fears and thoughts and limitations in the world. So if you're going to deal with a world that's full of a lot of fear and anger and trepidation and just rage, then you're going to have a heart that's powerful enough not to get succumbed by it, not to get trapped in it, not to spin in the vortex of it. And that means you have to do little bitty practices to help you open the heart up, to help you open up this heart to a place where it is available to you at will. All right? All right. Okay, good. That's right. We are gonna and we're doing this just so you know and you keep it in perspective. We are practicing for awakening. I don't think we are the world's only protection, because I think all religions have their degree of protection, and good people in whatever religion is going to protect the world. What I think we do as practitioners that's a little unique is that we generate a level of energy, beneficial energy, that can move the world into great directions. I just don't think it's it's a passing thing that the Dharma has come to the West in this Western culture, because we live in a culture that's very anti-Dhamma. It's antithesis to Dhamma. And so our practice is an act of revolution in this culture. And so this revolutionary act that we're doing, this is to actually change this Western culture. And I believe if we begin to shift the mind state of the Western culture, the whole world will be a lot happier. The whole world. So this is a big job we're taking on. I think we can do it. So you just stay connected to your Sangha, stay tight and connected, and support the Sangha so that you always have a place to come and share Dhamma like this, and you're not left alone to do it on your own. All right? Good. All right. Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Howie, for inviting me. I love coming. It's appreciate it.
On behalf of Howie, you are welcome.
Yeah.
And on behalf of the whole Sangha, thank you.
That's right. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. All righty. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you, Tori.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Tori.
Love the story.
I love it. I love it. It always feels so nice when we finally start talking to each other.
Yeah.
I know.